Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens dominate New York. Let's talk. The Baltimore Ravens go up to New York and put on a big-time offensive performance, winning 35-14. With Lamar Jackson passing for 5 touchdowns, he was 21 of 25 for 290 yards, no interceptions, and basically a perfect passer rating. But the truth is, that was to be expected, right? The New York Giants are a not so good team. They definitely have some talented players, but they have a lot of things to figure out. So the Baltimore Ravens were absolutely supposed to go to New York and do exactly what we saw them do, right? So I want to give a shout out, man, in these first reactions. I want to give a shout out to Lamar Jackson for doing what he was supposed to do and being elite. I want to give a shout out to Zay Flowers for catching everything that was thrown his way. I want to give a shout out to Rashad Bateman for stepping up and delivering big time plays. I want to give a shout out to Isaiah Likely for getting back involved with the offense. Shout out to Derrick Henry for running hard, even though it was tough sledding early in the game. And shout out to the defense who managed the game well. Okay. To be honest, going into this game, I had 50% confidence in the Baltimore Ravens going down the stretch, being able to possibly capture the AFC North and being able to be hot going into the playoffs. And to be honest, I'm still only 50% confident today. Boulanger, man, you ought to be more excited about a win. Well, I'm excited about the win, but the win was expected, right? That's why there was no keys to victory. That's why I said in that keys to victory video that they just had to go out and do what they were supposed to do, okay? But the lack of increase in confidence comes from what we saw yesterday, right? If you just look at the scoreboard, if you just look at the 5 touchdowns, if you just look at the perfect passer rating, if you just look at Lamar Jackson running for over 60 yards in the run game, you're going to miss the other aspects of the game that still give cause to pause. You're going to miss the 12 penalties, which John Harbaugh spoke about in his post-game press conference. You're going to miss plays by Brandon Stevens, basically 2 plays in a row where he gets a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty, turns around, gets a pass interference penalty, and puts the Giants inside of the 10-yard line, right? Against a better team with more talent on both sides of the ball, we're going to have a more difficult time overcoming 12 penalties. And then on that same series, you have the Baltimore Ravens hold the New York Giants, getting them to 3rd down, and you have Odafe Oweh get a illegal hands to the face penalty, which gives them new life, a new set of downs where they go and score. And so we kept the New York Giants alive in that game into that second quarter, much longer than they should have been, even thinking about possibly spoiling the Baltimore Ravens victory. And so that's still a concern for the Baltimore Ravens to have basically 2 weeks off and come out and look like the same Ravens, look like the same undisciplined Ravens, look like the same Ravens who are inconsistent, the same Ravens making the same poor decisions. It's concerning, especially against a bad New York Giants team. And so when we go down the stretch, right, the competition is only going to increase. We got Pittsburgh coming up, and then just a few days later, I think it's 4 days later, we got the Houston Texans in Houston, and then we close out with Cleveland, all teams who are better than this version of New York. And so, although, I was glad to see what the offense was able to do yesterday, right? Glad to see that we still hit our year average of 400 plus yards per game and all those kind of things. Still have some concerns about the Baltimore Ravens and their undisciplined penalties and the lack of run blocking or effective run blocking for the running back. Right? Lamar Jackson is going to get 50, 60 yards if he chooses to run, just because he can get some of those off the scramble, right? But Derrick Henry, he's fully dependent upon the offensive line, opening holes and things of that nature. And so that was still a concern of mine from yesterday. And then the sloppy play in the early part of the game is also a concern. Maybe it was just knocking off some rust. And so maybe we'll be better suited to play on Saturday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys let me know what your takeaways was from this game. But I do want to give a few more shout outs on the defense side of the ball. I want to give a shout out to the interior defensive line, Madubuike, and also Travis Jones. I want to give a shout out to Nate Wiggins, who did some good things in coverage yesterday. And I think that's about it. I thought the pass rush was still invisible. And Somebody needs to step up in that area. Oh, let me think of. I know this is kind of random, but I want to give a shout out to David Ajabo, who picked up a sack yesterday. Right, something that we're gonna need him to do. We need him to pick up his play going down the stretch as well. So excited for a win, solid win, not a great win, and we're gonna have to step it up a notch to go against the Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming week. So listen, I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.